Hi, everyone. I'm Tim Baldermann, and welcome to this edition of Too Honest for Social Media, where we talk about issues that face us here at the local, state, and federal level. Today, we're going to be discussing something that's really important here in the home of Proud Americans in particular. We're talking about our veterans and some of the issues that they face. And I'm honored to be joined today by Ryan Brazel. So, Ryan, thank you for joining me here.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Absolutely. Why don't you start out, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Ryan Brazel. I'm from the south side of Chicago, Canaryville. I served 22 years in the Navy, retired. I did 2 deployments, Northern Arabian Gulf, small boat ops, 2 deployments to Iraq, and another one to Oman. And like I said, I retired here. I am with the law enforcement in a south suburb of Chicago.
All right. So how long have you been serving in law enforcement now?
Law enforcement is going to be just a little bit around 9 years now.
9 years. So 22-year veteran and 9 years with law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Good for you. Well, let me start out by saying on behalf of myself and all of us here, we truly appreciate your commitment to our country and now your commitment to law enforcement. We're big supporters of both our veterans and our police here in Lenox. So that's what it's all about. Well, let's get right into this with veteran issues. I mean, this is something, now I have served 22 years in law enforcement, not a veteran, but it's something that's always really baffled me. This country exists because of the men and women that defend our Constitution. And that's important because it always gets into, the military. They don't serve a president other than as the commander in chief, but they don't serve a political party. They defend the Constitution and our way of life. For the life of me, I cannot understand in this wealthiest of nations why any veteran should ever go without the services that they need after giving so much of their life to our country. Do you find that that's baffling to you as well? That
I have no idea where to begin, honestly. Through the years, just as a young sailor going through everything, I never thought that it was this bad. The VA that everybody knows and always hears the horror stories about, they are drastically underfunded, undermanned, overwhelmed with everything that's going on. It's not getting the attention that it deserves, is what I believe.
Well, you're 100% right. So we're looking at roughly 18 million veterans in this country. And for my purposes as an American, whether you serve in peacetime, whether you serve in wartime, you have signed up to do whatever it takes and whatever mission you're given. And so every one of those veterans deserves the support and respect that we can give them. Significant surveys have come out, and they've said, for example, 44% of those who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan say they've had problems readjusting to life after their return. And there's a lot of reasons why they have trouble adjusting. But you've served. I mean, have you seen that with the people that you know that have come home?
Absolutely. I'm not any different than any of these other veterans that are coming home. I had my own issues. You could ask my wife, my family. I went through years of training to be a certain way, live a certain way, and then to be dropped into the middle of a whole nother living environment where people don't speak our language, so to speak, and finding other people like us was one of my priorities, is finding somebody who can understand me and understand why I do the things that I do. When I came home from active duty, I did 5 years active duty. When I came home from that, my family all said that you're different. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm 23, 24 years old. I'm just living my best life. I just got out of the military. I'm going to grow my hair out, get a big old beard, and go to college and have a great time. I deployed in 08 to 09. When I returned home, I had met my wife, and there wasn't much of a difference for me, but the friends of mine said, hey, man, you're different now. People who didn't know me before that, that knew me before the deployment. And I didn't think anything of it. I was going to college now, and everything was great. And then when I came home from my deployment from 2012 to 2011 to 2012, my wife told me that I was different. And then, well, like I said, I had a fifth time back over to the Middle East, and when I came home from that, my daughter said that I was different.
Yeah, that's tough, and I'm sure there are a lot of ways that they could explain. In some ways, they probably couldn't articulate as to how. Some of the issues that are discussed with veterans that come back, problems include, of course, post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah. There's no question. Depression, anxiety, alcohol use, thoughts of suicide. Many of them, of course, suffer more than one of those conditions from coming home. Delve into that. I know it's really personal for you, but delve into that a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, for our listeners, what that adjustment is like. Because if you haven't served, you cannot possibly understand.
Well, it's very similar to first responders. You walk into a restaurant, first thing you do, you find the exits, you keep your back against the wall, you live a certain way. That's what you got. That's what you're trained to do. You're coming home from the Middle East, you're coming home from overseas, you're coming home from wherever you're coming back from, and people are trying to adjust to it. Your nervous system is the fight or flight. There is no flight for us. There is only the fight. So if we are confronted, if we are challenged, it's automatically we have to be prepared, ready to go. So your adrenaline kicks in, and you hear whatever noise it might be at a restaurant, or something that might, I hate the term, trigger a memory from something that might have occurred back while you were deployed. And the only way, because you're in a fight mode, but you're not in a war situation, a lot of the times the only thing to do is kill the nerves. And as a first responder, a lot of times it's leading to alcohol or other types of substance abuse.
Yeah, I mean, horrific. There is, as you know better than anyone, serving in both of those roles, a difference, though, when you're away from your family and you're away from your loved ones. In law enforcement, you work some horrible hours, you are exposed to some difficult situations, but if you're fortunate, every night you get to come home and sleep with your spouse and be with your kids. When you're deployed for long periods of time like that, and everyone that is close to you is so far away, what kind of stress does that cause?
I'm very fortunate about my deployments. I never had to dig my own hole to sleep in. I've never had to be in a dangerous situation where I was sleeping. But there are those who were infantry. They were grunts, and they were out overnight. They were in FOBs overnight. They were, these guys that I couldn't imagine living in a mud hut, somewhere in the mountains of Afghanistan or in the fields of Iraq, and you're the difference. You're the 4-hour difference between your brothers that are in that hole with you, sleeping peacefully for the entire 4 hours that you're on the fire watch, or them you screwing up and falling asleep. I mean, the amount of stress that can cause a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah. And
then he's supposed to live his life like nothing ever happened for the rest of his time here in the States.
That's right. And coming home to the majority, there's 360 million people that live in this country. There's 18 million veterans. So obviously that's a real small percentage of 5% of the people that have served our country in that capacity. So it's got to be really difficult to adjust and for others to understand what you're going through, even those things that are simple triggers that no one else would think anything of.
It has been difficult, but learning to use your words and expressing it, I know it sounds a little sensitive, but it's helped people understand. They make a big deal for some fireworks. 4th of July happens. 4th of July is always going to be the 4th of July. Yeah. Here in Chicago, Chicagoland, you play the game. Yeah. Is it fireworks or gunfire type of deal? But there's more people who are sympathetic towards combat veterans with the fireworks now more than they've ever been. I don't think during Vietnam, not that I was alive during that time, you might have been around.
I was, pal. I was alive, yeah.
But never did you see on anybody's front lawn say, hey, we have a combat veteran. light off fireworks or,
Right.
During Desert Storm, I don't remember ever seeing any of those out. It was just like, hey, we're going to blow off quarter sticks and do whatever else we want to because it's the 4th of July. Now, with all these books that have come out, all these podcasts that have come out, all these different apps that have been out there, TikTok and Facebook and all that, there's more awareness that's coming around, which has been great for a lot of the veterans, which I greatly appreciate. So, but again, it's the awareness that we're still trying to spread.
All right. Well, you bring up Vietnam, and yes, I was alive during the Vietnam War, my friend. But by the time it ended, I was only 9. So I mean, I don't have that. I did know someone from my neighborhood who died during that conflict, but I was a child. Clearly, the lack of respect that our Vietnam veterans came home to was just inexcusable and horrific, and we have to keep reliving this because our Vietnam veterans, so many of them are still with us. There seems to be a greater respect toward our veterans and their service now than there was then. However, is that translating into when you're looking to get employment, when you're looking to get the medical services that you need? Is there that level of understanding that our veterans have done something that 95% of the rest of the population hasn't done, and so it's going to be, we have to be there to try and help them out?
Whenever I meet any type of veteran, regardless of when they served, where they served, I always thank them, regardless. Sure. If you did 4 years and you were down in Pensacola, Florida, just lifting weights and getting tan the whole time, thank you for doing that. Thank you for making sure our helicopters and everything else was maintained and everything was ready to go. Obviously, with the lack of World War II veterans still around, but when I meet one, man, that just is unreal. Korean War veterans, the Forgotten War, I go and shake their hands and say thank you. But man, the Vietnam vets, they fought and fought and fought and paved the way for our veterans today. Some people don't see it. If you were to watch the Tom Cruise Born on the 4th of July, Ryan Kovic, that is an unbelievable story. I don't know if you've ever seen it, to where this man comes home, he served his country, he was wounded, he, paralyzed, and he finally came to the realization that he is not receiving. And he even yells it, I just want to be treated like a human being.
Right.
The Vietnam veterans have fought and done so much for our veterans today that, yes, do we still see people saying, oh, it was when the PTSD was becoming bigger and bigger, I'd say maybe mid-2000s, that because it was called a syndrome, that businesses were saying, oh, we don't want that here. But again, they're joining arms. These veterans are fighting for our rights, and it's sad that we have to do this, that we have to fight for this, that we have to take care of our own because we're falling through the cracks. That these guys are coming home and that, they try to get a job and they wrote that they were in Iraq or Afghanistan, and it's just like, oh, well, if he has PTSD, how is he going to be, or how is she going to be working here? They do have preferences for veterans, which is, again, I attribute to our Vietnam era and before us. Always grateful for everything. But yeah, the medical, again, I'm fortunate to be in law enforcement. My wife is a teacher of the year. No big deal.
Outstanding.
We have our own insurance, so we don't have to rely on the VA. But those who do rely on the VA, as I said, they are, you're waiting months and months to be able to get in to see somebody. You're waiting months to be able to see a therapist. You're waiting months for whatever type of surgery you might need or any type of medication, and you have to go down to wherever you go through just to get things taken care of. And it's hard to see people who signed up to do something for this country have to struggle so greatly just for natural human rights.
Well, you're right. And that's the part that we started off this podcast saying, that I cannot imagine how any elected official, I don't care what party you align with, would ever want to deny rights or not give the greatest of rights to those that have made those sacrifices.
Yeah.
Part of the problem, too, though, they say, is that there are many veterans who don't know how to apply for these benefits. They don't know how to seek this help out. I know here in Will County, and I know it exists in every county, but Will County, where can they go for this type?
That was the Veterans
Commission.
Commission, right? Yeah. The Will County Veterans Commission is fantastic. They help. So there's this stigma about the VA that you're going to get lost in the system, fall through the cracks, and it does happen.
Sure.
To say that it's a perfect system is the biggest lie. There are these organizations that help veterans kind of guide through it, because I know I was going through it on my own, and you would get feedback from the VA that didn't make sense. And I was like, I have absolutely no idea what's going on with this. Am I supposed to do something? Do I not need to do anything? Because what they're sending you isn't computing. So I went through the VAC of Will County, and they were able to straighten it all out. They took all my paperwork. They were helping me file the claims real quickly and everything like that. They put it all through. Once that happens, then it's in the VA's hands. Yeah, it still moves sluggish, but they start getting you into your appointments, start scheduling you and everything like that for your disability claims. But there are organizations other than them as well that help get veterans through where they need to get to.
And we really have to make sure that people know about that, because these veterans, it's one thing, that unfortunately they're struggling with these issues, but to not even know where to go to get help. That's, if the system is broken, it should be fixed. But if veterans don't even know where to turn. Now, of course, here in this community, we have a very active VFW,
yes,
and American Legion, which I know you're a big part of the VFW, and right there's a good network. But you also can help veterans find their way in that system as well.
Absolutely. So the VFW and the American Legions, not all posts are as amazing as ours here in New Lenox. I've been to other ones. Some of them are doing great. Some of them are struggling themselves. But what they definitely do provide is resources. They provide an experience that you cannot get by just walking into a VA and saying, oh, well, I want help. These guys know what to do. They know, again, it's the Vietnam era, the Korean War, World War II vets are still going to those. The original, Desert Storm, the original desert fight. These guys are there, and they're there to help. Whether it's the Legion, whether it's the VFW, even as simple as something on Wednesday mornings at our VFW, and I don't know if you know this, but they have a PTSD group that meets up every Wednesday morning. I think it was at 10:30. They meet up. Little Joe over there, he invited me, and I went to it. I couldn't believe it. It was just guys, just like you and me, talking about the things that we went through, and they have DAV guys there as well, trying to talk to you about things. They have resources that come out, and they try to help vets as much as possible. One of the major problems, and you were bringing up that the veterans don't know where to go. Some of them don't want to go.
Right.
And that falls on, sadly, the veteran not wanting to go through the services. And that's because of the stigma that is there.
That, no doubt, that is part of it, and I don't want to go off into another area, but that happens with homelessness too.
Absolutely,
there's areas
yeah.
where people can get help with homelessness, but they choose not to. A lot of that time, it's because they are suffering with mental illness. Mm-hmm. One of the other thing that really pisses me off about this state, we're in the bottom of just about everything, but our support for those with mental illness, whether they're veterans or not, we rank like 49th in the country. I mean, what we do. But you cross the border to Wisconsin, they were ranked number 1 or number 2. But here we don't do it. So we talk a good game about helping people out with social issues, but we don't back it up. And one of the things you talked about too, we're talking about the Vietnam conflict and your role in law enforcement as well. People have to understand, war's not popular. We understand that. The Vietnam War certainly was probably the least popular of all wars.
Kidding.
But just like there's a lot of laws and things that happen that are passed in states around the country, but when people take it out on a veteran or they take it out on a police officer All the veteran is doing is serving their country and following orders. All the police officer is doing is protecting their country or protecting their community. So be upset with the law, be upset with the outcome, be upset with the conflict, but don't take it out on those people that are trying to do the very best to keep us all safe.
Who are the ones that write the laws?
It's not the police officers and the veterans.
That's what I really wish, and not to change my hat or anything like that, but who writes the laws?
Yeah.
We only enforce them.
That's right.
And then we get the argument like, oh, well, you guys let them out real quickly. We don't make that decision. That's not our decision.
For a second. No.
You tell us. The men and women who were serving through the 90s, the late 90s into the early 2000s, they were there doing the, hey, we're going to go to college, get our degrees. This is great.
Right.
It's downtime. We're in peacetime. And then 9/11 happens.
That's right.
Do you now hate the military and the veterans that are getting out? It's to the number one thing, and people are like, oh, well, we should get rid of the military then or whatever. Huh. The number one, what is the number one rule of deadly force?
You always stay one step ahead, but go ahead.
Well, what's the number one? The very first step. The very first step is presence.
Oh, yes. You have
always
to be
presence.
there, yes.
If you don't have a military, you are open to whatever. If you have a military and it's one of the most elite militaries, people are a little bit like,
well, it's peace through strength. I mean,
agree.
It's peace through strength. When they see that we have the ability, as Teddy Roosevelt said, walk softly, carry a big stick.
Yes, sir.
I mean, and that's really what it's all about. No, anyone that talks about defunding anything when it comes to our protection is out of their mind.
Absolutely.
Look, I have all the respect in the world for social workers, but they don't want to show up to an armed robbery. So that's a whole nother podcast.
I'll never go to an anti-war rally, but if you have a peace protest, invite me.
There you go.
Mother Teresa.
There you go. All right, let's switch gears just a little bit here. I really do admire what you've done, not only your service to our country, your service to your community that you serve as a police officer, but now you've taken on an additional role through the VFW, because let's talk about some horrible statistics. Suicide rates among veterans. 34.7 per 100,000 people. We're coming at 22 a day?
Yes, sir.
Is it 22 veterans a day in this country are committing suicide? The rate for non-veteran adults committing suicide is half of that, which is horrific in itself.
Absolutely.
But clearly, when the number is double for those who have served our country, there's an issue, and it's all the things that we've talked about. Lack of access to the proper care, not knowing how to get the proper care, the system being broken, all of these things. Life being difficult for them because an employer perhaps does say, I don't know that I want to hire this veteran. In fact, after 9/11, they said that the unemployment rate for adult veterans was double. That had served after 9/11 was double for those who did not serve. So there is that stigma still of people who say, oh yeah, I love you, thank you for your service, hire you and put you in my workplace, not so much. So let's not kid ourselves, that is happening. So all of these issues are faced with, we see these horrible number of suicides. Let's talk about the Warriors Walk and what you're doing.
Absolutely. So it started as a committee at the VFW, Post 9545 here in wonderful New Lenox. Mm-hmm. And the outpour of support, not just from our veterans, but this community in general, the businesses, the wonderful mayoral administration.
I appreciate that.
They've been fantastic. Neighboring towns, even this year, we're growing exponentially. But it started off myself in 2019, and I kind of emailed a bunch of guys, and this goes back to what you were talking about, those guys who can't acclimate back to society. When I was coming home, and I was home between deployments, I would get this itch, as I would consider, like, I want to get back over there. I want to get back with my guys. I want to know, everybody's coming home safe. I want to go over and do my part. That's where I was at. And we were lucky. We were very fortunate, my wife and I. We were able to move here to New Lenox in 2019, June of 2019. And in November 2019, I started getting that itch. And I was like, you know what? I haven't done a ruck in a while because we moved from Chicago. I haven't really gotten involved with any veterans things because I graduated college. I'm away from the city. I'm away from my family. We're kind of secluded out here in the cornfields. And I said, let me do this. I get a couple of my buddies from up at Great Lakes. We'll go and ruck it out. We'll do the 20. And so day of, nobody showed up. And at 9 a.m., I said, well, I was going to do this. I'm going to still do it. So I wound up walking up Nelson, and I got stopped by the local, the county, and the Forest Preserve police. And they thought that it was some guy named Kevin. That's absolutely crazy. Who, that somebody called in that because I'm in my desert cami pants. I got my field jacket on. It's November, Chicago. I got the American flag and everything.
You're rocking.
I look a little nuts when I'm by myself.
Yeah.
But they all found out that everything's all good, and they took a photo, but it wound up making the local paper with Sean Hastings at the new Lenox Patriot.
Yeah.
So I do my full 20 miles, and we actually hung out at the VFW afterwards. The following month, I wound up going to my first VFW meeting, and they were like, hey, this is you in the paper. And the wonderful guy that he is, John Forsythe, massive veteran, just
great
big
guy.
heart.
Yeah.
And he comes over. He's like, what is this? I said, well, this is what veterans like to do. He's like, why? It sounds terrible. I was like, this is what we do now. It's nothing against what the Vietnam guys do, the Desert Storm, or anybody else sitting in the bars. Some of us are still extremely young. I'm relatively young in the room. But compared to police officers and military, 42, I'm a grandfather. Yeah. They don't sit in the bars anymore. They don't do this stuff. They want to be outside. They want to go and do stuff. And so he's like, well, can we do this again next year? That was 2020.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. He's like, well, how much money did you raise? About $1,700. And he said, okay, well, let's put down $2,000. We'll try and raise that much. And in the face of COVID, everything that was happening, we wound up raising about $15,000 that we raised, and we donated to a non-for-profit organization called the Headstrong Project that gets veterans and their families the quality mental health that they deserve. And when I say quality mental health, I mean quality mental health. These are practices outside the VA that are coming in. First responder wellness with Dr. Carrie Steiner. She's actually our keynote speaker for the dinner on the 12th. But she was Chicago PD. She has her PhD in psychology. She was the first one at the Highland shooting on the 4th of July. She was there. She was, when they talk about, hey, we need these social workers, she would be the person. She was that person that's going to be out there talking to the officers and talking to the people and really getting into the nitty gritty. She's been fantastic with everything. She is just one of many of their therapists that they have in their network here in the Chicagoland, Illinois area. And then the following year, 2021, was the 10th anniversary of the 9/11, or the 20th. Sorry, yeah. Wow, time flies, man. Good thing I wasn't at Vietnam.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
And it just continuously grew. You got more involved.
Yes.
The businesses here in town got more involved, and I would love to just be able to rave about the businesses helping us out, grow this as much as possible. But it all comes back down to it starting off as a committee with the VFW, with Tim Terrell, Clark Christensen, and John Forsythe, and Travis Gordon, and Rick Soth, and Donnie Ibarra, and all these guys that are just like, what do you need? What can I do to help? I want to be a part of this. What can we do? And they're out there and they're doing it. And then, Frank Novak, the poor guy who has to live in the office all the time, just like, Ryan, what do you need now? Yeah. And he just fantastic. And then I call you guys, hey man, can I have the comments on this? Ryan, what do you need from us? Just tell us what you need and we'll give it to you.
We want to support
and
that.
it's been fantastic. The whole thing has been a wonderful nightmare, I guess is the best way to put it.
There you go.
And it's just grown exponentially. We've taken on a team. We are now our own non-for-profit, so we've had to not completely cut ties with the VFW. If anything, it's grown stronger with the VFW as well as the American Legion, and kind of bridging those gaps. And the younger veterans love what we're doing and they want to be part of it. And they're like, well, I didn't realize that all these resources are here at the VFW. All these resources are here at the American Legion. And we've reached out to other organizations, other towns where, the Frankfurt mayor has been very receptive to us, the Frankfurt VFW, who, they're our turnaround for this year's walk. They're the turnaround point is
Nice.
their post. Mokina's mayor is involved. Manhattan loves what we're doing, and we're just growing and growing. We're as far as Gray's Lake. We're working with their VFW, and it's just been fantastic. And it's like a revitalization of all these young veterans who are like, we can get behind this. And the VFW, cool, but it seems like it's a Vietnam kind of thing. But the Vietnam guys went through the exact same stuff that we went through.
Right.
Exact same stuff, where it's not the same war per se, but coming back and dealing with the crap and dealing with, well, this VFW isn't for us. Some of them weren't allowed to join the VFW. They said that's not a real war. The World War II guys were giving them such crap.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a real war.
Right.
But the resources and this town has been one of the main reasons that we've been so successful.
Well, let's talk about, so people can get involved. They can walk, they can donate.
Yes.
The timing's great here. So this year's walk is the 12th.
It's so the dinner is on the 12th. Is the Friday the 12th is the dinner. If you want to join us at the VFW or it's at the American Legion, right off of Cedar and Laraway.
Right.
The dinner is $30.
Yep.
You get a all-you-can-eat buffet from Mission Barbecue, which has been donated by Farm to Veteran, which I would love to give them a big shout out. All-you-can-drink package from the American Legion, and then we have a flat-top grill, which is the entry prize this year. We have a keynote speaker, again, Dr. Carrie Steiner. We might have our mayor show up this year.
He was there last year.
But if it's the same speaker.
No, you told me you changed it, so I will be back. No matter who it is, I'll be there, but yes.
It starts around 5. We're opening up doors for cocktail hour and everything like that. There's raffles. A lot of it's donations from the local businesses, Arrowhead, and I know a lot of them are Burkott's is donating, and
so where do they get the ticket? Where do they get the tickets?
You can.
For this?
Everything is online, but we do have hard tickets to sell as well. I believe we have some of them at the VFW Post 9545. But if you want to buy online, we have them there. You can go to warriorswalk-il.org.
All right, warriorswalk-il.org.
Yeah, it's
right,
not the
really
backslash or anything like that.
No. We'll put that out there. We'll promote that too. So that's for the dinner, and then the walk people can participate in too and talk about that.
Absolutely. The walk itself is on September 13th, and so we have registration starting about 7:30, 8 o'clock here in the new Lenox Common. What is it, Veterans Parkway?
Yes.
One Veterans Parkway here. You can't miss us. We're the biggest, goofiest crowd that's out there. Yeah. We will have a coffee stand will be out there, refreshments will be out there, but for the most part, we'll be getting people registered. You can pre-register online, same website. You can come in and register. We'll have QR codes set up if you want to do it, and you can do it right on your phone. And then if you don't want to use your phone, you don't want to do anything online, I know there's people staying off the grid, you can come to our spot, and we will use our own tablets and get you registered and everything. We ask that you do register because it has the insurance liability and everything like that. You do not have to walk the 20 miles. And I'll repeat, you do not have to walk 20 miles. Our mayor has maybe done 20 miles in all the 6 ones that we've had, or the 5 that we've presently had.
Are you out of your mind? I've gone further, but I've got other things to do, pal. I mean, I get pulled in a lot of ways.
I'd say 20 all in.
Hey, I'm there every year, and I'm walking.
Absolutely are, and I appreciate it.
I'm not carrying the ruck, but that's for I'm walking.
I'll carry the ruck.
All right, you got it, my man.
You don't have to do the 20. We do have what's called the Memorial Mile. So the Memorial Mile itself is, we have a program this year, this is all new, in which you can register. If you've had a veteran service member that you've lost to suicide, you can go online and you can register for these dog tags. And they're commemorative dog tags. We make a set for you and a set that you'll be able to hang along Gear Street here during our ruck. and we'll have a moment of silence and everything. The street will be lined with flags and hangers where people will be able to put these dog tags. And they're made right here in New Lenox, USA, all that. And then, like I said, you'll be able to keep a set for yourself as well. And we plan on doing this every year. We'll have bagpipers, moment of silence, 21 gun salute. I mean, it's grown exponentially from me just putting it out there. Safety brief. All right, let's go.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be a real big deal, as well as it should be. We'll do the ruck if you want to do a mile, if you want to do a 5K, a 10K, a 10 mile. If you want to do the 20. It's all available. We just ask you to do what you can. If you just want to walk around the beautiful commons that we have here, that's sufficient to me. Just come out and support these guys who need us in their darkest hour. So once the walk gets going, about 9 a.m. is the ceremony, and then we'll kick it off. Approximately 11 a.m., 10:30, 11 a.m., we're going to start setting up for the Patriots party right afterwards. And we're going to have the face paintings, the cotton candy and snow cones and popcorn, and the beer wagon will be out there. We have a live band, Still Rocking, will be out there. We have a DJ to play music until they're up and going. Lots of vendors, lots of resources, veteran resources that are going to be out there. One of the major ones, the Farm to Veteran. They're actually right over in the unincorporated Manhattan off of Money Road. Money Manhattan Road and Schoolhouse. It's exactly what it sounds like. They raise all these crops. They raise livestock. They have fresh eggs, and they donate all of it. All of it gets donated to veterans who are struggling to put food on their table. So they are in Southland, Chicago, helping out some of their VFWs, and they're over in Joliet donating food. And like I said, I've tried to go down there to buy products off of them. And they said, absolutely not. It's all donated. But they'll be there. It's grown exponentially.
Well, that's what we have to do. We're here in the home of proud Americans. We need to support our veterans. Can't just talk about it. We can't just say thank you on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Our veterans deserve our respect and support 365 days a year. We're very grateful for your service, again, to our country, your continued service in law enforcement, certainly what you're doing for veterans that are struggling. Try and get that number way down from 22 veterans a day. I would encourage all of you, you've heard where you can register. If you forgot, or you call our VFW here in New Lenox, get that information. Come out to the dinner, come out to the walk. If you can't do either one of those things, please make a donation. Do what you can to support our veterans. There's nothing more important than supporting those that are defending our way of life every day. Ryan, I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate you, and I want to thank all of you for watching this edition of Too Honest for Social Media. Stealing your life.